Hello and welcome to the weekly soul revival for the week of May 19th. This is your weekly intuitive energy reading and sacred guidance to support the revival of your authentic self. And so why don't we just take a moment to ground together on this beautiful Monday morning. Take a couple grounding deep breaths. And I might want you to hold a question in your heart, or if there's anything that you're hoping to gain from this message, you can set some kind of intention for this reading. And I'll hold that intention in my heart as well, that this is going to be a message that supports you in the time that you receive this message. And as always, use your discernment for these messages. It may not always land for you, and that's okay. And so some of those ways that you might notice if this is not for you, you might be overthinking the message. You might be trying to fit it into some kind of box or make it fit for you. So if there's any kind of forceful energy, or if it's making your mind race or overthink, maybe it's not. But if you feel like I'm speaking directly to you, or you get emotional, or you feel it deep in your bones, then it might be for you. So of course, use that discernment and take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And so as always, I start with the tarot pool to get a little energy check-in for you. So I will ask Source, Spirit, Higher Self, Spirit Guides to help support this reading and help the message find whoever it is meant to find in the divine timing they're meant to find it. And I'll ask you to please show me the viewer's energy for this week of May 19th. This might reflect emotional themes you're processing this week. It might show just your general energy. Anything stirring inside of your soul. So let's see. Please show me the viewer's energy. Something wants to be revealed to you, but it may not be time yet. Okay. So we got 7 of Wands here. And the Chariot reverse. Reverse came out. And I was trying to think on the message from last week. That was the 5 of Wands. This is the 7 of Wands. So, see that? And it's interesting how I was saying, like, something's trying to be revealed to you, but it may not be time yet. Like, that's this Chariot right here for sure. Is like, normally the Chariot is like, there's fast movement, there's direction, but it's reversed. So there's a little bit of like slowness happening. But with this 7 of Wands, I'm curious if this week you're dealing with any external energies outside of you that are causing you to feel a little bit defensive or argumentative, or you might find that you need to set some clear boundaries this week. And in that, it might be poking at your confidence a little bit. To be able to set boundaries, we have to kind of have, a good, strong sense of self and will to be able to set those boundaries clearly. So there might be something here about needing to set boundaries this week and have confidence in yourself when there's some kind of obstacle. And actually, that's something else I'm getting from this too, is like, if there is an obstacle in your path right now, if there's something that you're feeling is a challenge in your way, you might need to call on this really kind of fighty in a good way, you know, like fighty, like I'm going to fight for what I want. I'm going to fight for the determination and perseverance to go through this obstacle and challenge that's in my way. I'm going to do it with confidence. So there's that coming through. So kind of two separate messages there, depending on which one you might resonate with more. You might be feeling the need to tap into that inner confidence and set some clear boundaries if you're feeling the need to do that this week. And also if there's some kind of challenge or obstacle in your way, you might be calling on having that confidence to persevere, fight through the obstacle, and make it out through the other side. And curious. Okay, so underneath the deck we have the Ace of Swords reversed. And so there kind of feels like there's a little bit of a lack of mental clarity as an undertone this week. You might have a little bit of mental fog, or even maybe your discernment is a little off this week. And so just know if that's something that you're generally feeling like a lack of mental clarity, maybe that is also what is kind of impacting your ability to say, you know, hey, there's this thing that's happening. Maybe it's with an external party and you're like, I am not trusting myself if like why I'm feeling defensive, or if I should set a boundary. Maybe there's a little bit of like, I'm not trusting the clarity of my mind or even the clarity of my emotions. And so I'm not sure if I can trust that I can set a boundary. You might feel a little foggy or shaky on that. And then the same with like moving forward through an obstacle with confidence. There might be a little bit of like that mental fortitude that needs to be there to be able to, you know, persevere with will and determination. Okay, and so I split the deck to the Three of Swords. So there feels like there's definitely some vulnerability in this week as well, because the Three of Swords, you know, points to some like hard truths or some grief or some emotional woundings. There's a tenderness here. So I don't know if whoever you're needing to set boundaries with, there might be some woundings or some history here. Feeling a little sad. So there might be some history here with whoever it is that you're trying to set boundaries with, or that you're feeling the need to kind of protect yourself from. Or this relationship could have brought up some lack of self-confidence. Really kind of made you feel like you had to be on the defensive, and yeah, like it really kind of did a number on your belief in yourself, you know. So if this part of the message is resonating with you, you might have been dealing with a certain connection that is really impeding on your ability to believe in your ability to make it through obstacles and challenges and hard times. And you might even feel in this connection like being poked at with a stick, like literally. Like you might feel that feeling of like you always have to kind of be on guard, or almost like you have to defend yourself. And okay, that's something beautiful coming in, is that there's a reason for that, right? Because sometimes when we hear defensive, we think of like, oh, you're being insecure, or there's a reason for you to be defensive, right? We hear defensive a lot in terms of like somebody's insecurity, or like when they're hearing like not so great constructive criticism, they're getting defensive for it, right? But again, here's where the mental clarity and discernment comes in. It's like sometimes there's also the kind of defensiveness that clues you into when a boundary is being crossed, right? This is where it might lean more into like anger, where it's like, okay, I do feel a need to defend myself because I don't feel like that's fair. I don't feel like that's an accurate representation here. I don't think you're seeing me very clearly. There are certain moments where we get poked at. And yes, there are some times where we're getting poked at and it might be a gentle mirror to us and we need to lower our defenses and like take that in, see a whole picture of ourselves and not just defend for insecurity's sake, right? But then there's sometimes the defensive energy that comes from a valid place of needing to stand in your self-worth and stand up for yourself and set some clear boundaries around what kind of things that you're not comfortable with being said or done in relationship to another person. And so sometimes that defensive energy is actually coming from a place that, for example, in this connection, if you have felt low self-esteem, if you have felt like, something about the way this dynamic has left you feeling, wounded and unclear and feeling like, I don't know if I have a lot of confidence in myself. I don't know if I can make it through challenges. Like it really kind of blocked you from trusting yourself and trusting the way you think about things. So it's like, that may be on the conscious level, this self-doubt, this like, I don't know if I can do it, like kind of the woundings of this relationship has really got into your self-belief about what you're capable of. But here's the thing, is that when you're feeling a little bit defensive, there might be this unconscious knowing from a deep, deep part of you that knows that's not right, that knows that's not true about you, that knows that this feels unfair, that knows that this person might not be seeing you clearly, or because you're vulnerable in this dynamic, there might be a part of you that doesn't believe that on the conscious level, but on a deep, deep, deep down level, that part of you is getting worked up or defensive or feeling this need to set boundaries because there's a part of you that knows that that isn't an accurate reflection of you. There's a part of you that knows that there's a part of you that wants you to set those boundaries. There's a part of you that wants you to know that I have the determination, I have the will, I have the confidence to make it through obstacles. And that little part of you is getting defensive because it's like, I want to speak up. I want to speak up. Yeah, I split the deck again to the King of Wands. There's like more confidence in yourself. Oh, wow. And on the other side was the Queen of Wands. So we literally have this, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd you go? I lost you. I lost the confidence. Maybe you lost the confidence. Oh, goodness me. There it is. That's what happens when you split the deck. You don't know where it went. Okay. But literally, both times I split the deck was the Queen and the King of Wands. There's this counterpart energy here that is hidden. It's hidden amidst all of this stuff, but there is this like clear calling to step into your power, into your confidence, right? And so if you are noticing some of that defensiveness come up, some of that, yeah, I keep splitting to this. So there is some heart wounding here. There is some maybe hard truths that need to be said in certain connections, or there is just a, okay, okay. So I feel from this, there also might be part of why you may not set these boundaries is because you have to acknowledge the hurt that has happened in this relationship. With the mental clarity too, with the Ace of Swords reversed, that also feels like, okay, you'd have to see this person clearly to be able to address the harm and the hurt and the pain, which is a hard truth. I'm getting chills as I say that. And now it's right side up. Can't make that up. You might just have to face some hard truths this week to be able to feel more trusting in how you're perceiving the situation. to trust yourself. And here's the thing, even if, again, use your discernment, especially when it comes to relationships, because I'm not there. You know better. But here's the thing. It's not always black and white. People, trust me, I have witnessed it in my work, is that people are capable of great harm and also capable of great things. We all are. We're human, right? We're not all good, all evil. There's a complexity here, right? And so sometimes we have to be willing to acknowledge where we have been hurt, to be able to see yourself clearly, see the situation clearly, see somebody else clearly. And that doesn't mean this person is all bad. It just means that there was real life impact on you. And that's what matters. And to be able to address the hurt that's there, it's like, I feel them all in a row, right? Like, so to be able to have confidence in yourself, we also have to be able to set boundaries. We have to be able to set boundaries when we address that something is harmful or is hurting us, or there's a need to set boundaries. And to be able to trust in the fact that something's cluing you into the need to set those boundaries, or something hurts, we have to see ourselves in the situation clearly. We have to trust that that is what we're feeling. We have to trust that that is what's happening in the situation. So this week is definitely calling for some honesty with yourself, with your feelings, and trust when something doesn't feel good to you this week, and to set those boundaries when you need to. And also just the fact that there's a part of you that knows that you are capable of hard things, that you are more capable than this dynamic has left you feeling. And step into that. Have confidence in yourself. Set boundaries when you need to. You can set boundaries with love, right? Boundaries are not a no to you, it's a yes to me, right? And it's not I'm controlling what you do. It is a, hey, this is where my line is at. Please respect that. If you don't, here are the actions I might have to take. Okay? And you can do that with love. And not only when you do that with love for yourself, it's so much easier to communicate that with love to other people. When you're able to say yes to me, I love me, so I'm going to lovingly set this boundary for myself. It's so much easier to communicate that with love, instead of from a place of insecurity, or needing to defend yourself, or anger even coming out because you really haven't said it, So this week just feels like it's calling for that. To love yourself, trust yourself. It will help you feel more confident in handling obstacles or challenges. And that just might be also the challenges in relationship to other people. So, okay. Alrighty. Now, let us get your sacred rebel guidance from Spirit. Okay. So, I don't know why, but I've personally been seeing 1010 a lot lately, and that just came to mind right now. So, you might be seeing 1010 as well. Kind of like a strong portal, new beginnings, stepping into, higher self energy, And that might be a lot of that, right? Is stepping into what there's this joke about those what would Jesus do bracelets, right? But what would my higher self do? What would my higher self do? Think like that, right? If I felt really confident in myself, I trusted myself, if I if I respect what I need and I know how to communicate that, I'm not afraid of confrontation or conflict, what will my higher self do in this situation? That's always a good indicator. Okay, let's get into the sacred rebel guidance for this week. So Spirit, Source, Higher Self, Spirit Guides, please show me the sacred guidance for the viewer this week for May 19th. Following that message, any sacred rebel guidance for their unique and authentic path forward, stepping into this higher self energy. Whatever message the viewer needs to hear when they see this message. Okay. So random. Is that Cher? Do you believe in love after love? I don't know why that's in my head right now. What are the lyrics to that? Hold up, can I look that up really quick? Yeah, that is Cher, of course. It's duh. How could I forget? And maybe that is related to... Oh, that's interesting. Because the part that was playing in my head is the... Do you believe in love after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough, no. Interesting. Because that message really felt like there's some wounding, and maybe this isn't a love connection or relationship. And love can mean lots of things too, so it doesn't necessarily need to be romantic, but something about I've been saying those lyrics wrong, is do you believe in life after love, not do you believe in love after love? That's what I always thought it said. Do you believe in life after love? So it feels like there's, I don't know. Okay, how do I explain how that ties in for me? That ties in because it feels like, especially when it's I can feel something inside me saying, I really don't think you're strong enough. That might be the voice in your head. That might be how this love dynamic or the pain or the hurt has caused that mental fog where you're like, I really don't think I'm strong enough. Right? The lack of confidence, the perseverance, that whole I don't know if I can handle these challenges. I don't know if I'm strong enough. That's literally what it felt like. And it might have been after a love, right? So do you believe in life after love? Do you believe in yourself after love? Interesting. I'm just reading the rest. Yeah, okay, anyway. That was coming through while I was shuffling. Right when I said it, a card popped out, so let's see what it is. You see that? Listening for truth. Yeah. And that, what voice are you listening to? Are you listening to the voice of love, or are you listening to the voice of fear? Are you listening to the voice of trust, or are you listening to the voice of doubt? Are you listening to the voice of hate versus the voice of love and compassion? This card is so beautiful. There's such a serenity when I look at this card. And she's just so gently listening to the sounds of the ocean coming through this shell. And there's something really quiet about that. There's something so serene. If you've ever done that, think about how it feels. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps as I say that. When you go to the beach, and you find a conch or shell or one of these big ass shells, right? And you do that thing where you're like, let me listen to the sounds of the ocean. And you listen to it. You have to be so quiet, don't you? You have to be so still and just listen to that relaxing whoosh that resembles the ocean, that it literally sounds like it, like it's trapped inside of this shell, that it's literally there inside of it. And it feels so beautiful and relaxing and serene and tranquil. That's what the voice of love sounds like. That's what the voice of truth sounds like. That's what the voice of your higher self sounds like. You know, and I feel like there was a reason why at the beginning of this reading I decided to talk about how do you know discernment-wise if this message is for you or not. It's because sometimes we have trouble trusting ourselves and trusting, is this for me? Am I making it fit? No. And again, that energy difference of like, I'm getting chills when I hear this message. I'm feeling something deeply truthful land in my body. I'm feeling emotional. I feel my soul awaken from this message. It feels like they're speaking right to me. That's very different than the overthinking, egoic, anxious mind being like, is that for me? Oh, I don't know. Well, what does that mean? Oh, does she mean that by that? Or blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that fits in my situation. Now we're like, okay, like that doesn't feel very tranquil, does it? That doesn't feel very serene, does it? That feels a little bit anxiety provoking, if I'm honest. And I know, because I've been there. I've done that with so many readers online where I'm like, and I'm like, okay, is that the voice of love? I don't think so. But all of this, right, going in from like the certain challenges that you might be facing this week, or, your perception of situations, or trusting in what you see and feel and believe or need, there's a tranquility to it when you trust in your higher self. When you listen to the voice of love in compassion over the one of criticism and doubt and anxiety and fear, it doesn't feel like this. This feels peaceful. And so this is just a friendly little reminder of that, like through your life, through this week, just remember the voice of love. Remember the voice of compassion. Remember that tranquil, soft voice. Your mind's going to be loud. Doubt's going to be loud. But listen to the quieter, softer. Remember how I described how you have to tune into that? You have to get quiet. You have to get still. You have to listen very gently and allow it to come through. That's like listening to your intuition. That's like listening to your higher self. That soul voice inside of you that is going to be so much quieter than the voice of your mind, of your ego, of the person that you're in, the little vessel that you're in. So keep a lookout for that this week, Let that be kind of what grounds you into being able to build on this self-trust and this self-confidence. Is get quiet, listen to that voice of love, know that is, you are listening for that truth that's deep inside of you. It'll be quiet, it'll be still, it'll be compassionate. It also won't be urgent. It won't be black and white. It'll understand the complexity of a situation. It'll understand the overarching duality of life. It'll take all of that in and still be compassionate and soft and gentle. I still haven't decided yet if I'm going to continue reading from the guidebook or not. So what the heck? We'll glance at it today and we'll see if we're feeling it. I might do what I did last time where I just kind of look over it a few and maybe take some things from it. Okay, so truth speaks to us constantly, but not always in words. It may communicate through a feeling that is hard to put into words, but brings an inexplicable sense of peace, trust, and the knowing that somehow everything is going to work out perfectly, even if there's little evidence of how it is all going to happen. You're being asked to listen for the truth beneath the words rather than the superficial message of the words themselves. This is especially true for the communication of those around you. Okay. You'll begin to hear fear in the words and actions of those around you, even if they preach love. Listen deeply, listen for truth. you are hearing something that is not being said, and what you are hearing is truthful. You may feel as though you are the only one that is really ready to hear it or see it. Perhaps you have been working in a situation or loving in a relationship where truth is consistently denied. Okay, I'm skipping around. Just know this is not in order. Yeah. So again, I could read into all of this, but I feel like that already just substantiated what we've been talking about. So again, peace, trust, inner knowing. That's what love sounds like. That's what intuition sounds like. Trust yourself. It may not come in words or logic. It's a deep knowing, and you got to get quiet and still to trust in that. And again, there might be situations with people or relationships that you're in where you may be feeling, they may be saying one thing, but it might feel a different way. Trust yourself. Listen to what you're picking up. Even when there's subtle energy shifts, incongruent from their voice to their demeanor to their energy, trust in that. Not everybody does it consciously, right? But sometimes there's a grain of truth in there, and to get curious and approach it with love, loving curiosity, but trust in your perception of things, And so, yeah, this message just feels like you're really learning how to trust that inner knowing of yourself, that inner knowing within you, and how that allows you to lead in your life more authentically, more honestly, more truthfully, more self-lovingly. It just feels like when you're able to listen to yourself with love in that quiet, peaceful place, you can conduct yourself in the world and in relationships and in obstacles and tough situations gracefully. We're going to face these challenges in relationships and situations. There's going to be obstacles in front of us, right? But how we move through that is everything, right? How we move through those challenges with love, curiosity, compassion, grace, honesty, truth, softness, vulnerability, that's what matters. So I hope you can take that with you this week. Tend to yourself, as always. Be gentle with yourself. Maybe carve out some space for that quiet and stillness this week. It feels like going to that place would be really nourishing, but also something foundational about it. All right, beautiful souls. Well, I hope that resonates with you, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week that is as beautiful as you, and I will see you next week.